She almost erased me. My name's Evan, and I never believed I'd be the guy to fall for the wrong girl. I used to think I was smart enough to see red flags, that I could read people, that I would never get played. But if you're reading this, take it from me. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how good you are, how much love you give. Some people are just wired to break you for fun. Her name was Alina. We met in college. She walked into the lecture hall 30 minutes late and still had every guy in the room turning their heads like she was the only thing that mattered. I wasn't immune. Long black hair, ice blue eyes, lips like poison, and a laugh that made you feel like you'd heard it in a dream before. She sat right next to me like it was fate, smiled, and whispered, "Alina, sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything important?" Me? Just me falling in love. She laughed, and I swear, my heart sold its soul in that moment. It moved fast. 2 weeks later, we were inseparable. She moved in with me by month 3. At first, it felt like the kind of relationship people write songs about. Late-night conversations, drunk walks home, stolen glances in crowded places. I was completely hooked. I didn't notice the cracks until much later. It started small. She'd disappear for hours without explanation, claiming she was at her sister's or had forgotten her phone. Then came the lies. Little ones at first. Alina, I was with Maya all night. But Maya posted a story from a club, and Alina wasn't in it. When I asked, she laughed it off. Alina, oh my God, are you seriously checking my friend's Instagram stories? That's so insecure, Evan. I'm not dating a stalker. I backed off. I always backed off. She made me feel like I was crazy. Like every doubt I had was paranoia, jealousy, weakness. I started second-guessing myself. Gaslighting. I didn't even know the word back then. I just knew I felt like I was constantly apologizing for feeling hurt. But the real punch didn't land until my birthday. She told me she had something special planned. Alina, dress nice. No questions. I've got it all set. So I dressed up. She blindfolded me in the car, played my favorite playlist, kissed my hand. I thought, this is it. She's proving me wrong. She loves me. We pull up. She walks me into a house. I hear voices, familiar ones. Friends from class, co-workers, even my mom. Then the blindfold comes off. And standing in front of everyone, she's kissing another guy, tongue down his throat. I froze. The room was laughing. Laughing. Her friend Danny. Damn, Alina, you weren't kidding. He really thought it was a party for him. Alina, I told you he'd believe anything. God, look at his face. Priceless. I felt my stomach turn. The room spun. I remember stumbling backward, knocking over a drink, someone clapping, someone else filming. She made a game out of it. I was the punchline. The fool. I ran out. I didn't cry. Not that night. I couldn't even feel. I just walked. 10 miles in dress shoes until my feet bled. When I finally made it home, everything she owned was already gone. Except a note. Alina's note. Thanks for paying rent. Zoxo. 2 days later, the video went viral. Someone posted it on TikTok. Girl exposes her simp boyfriend. Wait for his face at 034 loudly crying face. Millions of views. My inbox flooded with messages, some supportive, most not. Random DM. Omfio bro got played so hard. Another one. You still alive, king? Blink twice. And then the threats. Random DM. Bet she cheated on you 100 times and you still worshipped her lol. Hope you off yourself. I lost my job that week. Couldn't walk into class without people pointing. Even professors were whispering. I became the meme. The sucker. The soft, gullible fool who got clowned by the school's most toxic goddess. Weeks passed. I thought it was over. Until I got a call from the police. Apparently, she had filed a restraining order against me. Officer Ramirez, on the phone, Mr. Jameson, we received a complaint of stalking and harassment. Miss Kirilenko claims you've been showing up at her home and place of work. There's footage. Me what? No, I haven't seen her since she humiliated me. Officer Ramirez, that's not what the report says. Turns out she used footage of me walking by a restaurant she worked at. I didn't even know she was there, and claimed I was lurking and threatening. I had to go to court. She showed up in tears, dressed like an angel. Spoke about emotional abuse and control and living in fear. I tried to tell the judge what happened, but he looked at the video and sided with her. I was banned from campus, from my own apartment complex. And 3 months later, I found out the guy she kissed at the party, he was the assistant to my boss. She'd been sleeping with him for a raise. The same raise I was supposed to get. He got it instead. Turns out she started dating him months before my birthday. She even convinced him I was abusive. Said she was saving herself from a toxic relationship. That guy? He believed every word. I was branded a predator. I lost friends. I lost my reputation. I even lost my scholarship. But the worst part? I still missed her. Even after all that. Even after the public humiliation, the lies, the manipulation, there were nights I'd lie in bed hoping she'd call. I'd check her profile every day, hoping she'd post something. Anything. Just to feel close again. Just to remember I wasn't crazy, that the girl I fell for was real. That maybe it wasn't all fake. But it was. Every message. Every kiss. Every smile. Fake. Designed. Scripted. I was just the role she needed me to play. The idiot boyfriend who'd take the fall so she could climb higher. And I played it perfectly. I'll stop here for now. Part 2. After the court hearing, I moved back to my parents' place. 23 years old, humiliated, out of school, no job, no apartment. The walk of shame wasn't from her bedroom. It was from my own life. My parents didn't ask many questions. Maybe they thought I had dropped out voluntarily. Maybe they believed what she said. I couldn't bring myself to tell them everything. What would I say? Hey mom. Hey dad. Remember that girl you loved? Yeah. She turned me into an internet joke, cost me my job, faked a restraining order, and made half the city think I'm a psycho. No. I just told them I needed time to figure things out. But I was spiraling. Hard. Everywhere I went, I saw her face. Every song reminded me of her. Every scent, every sound, every tiny detail of normal life was haunted by her ghost. And the worst part? She was thriving. New boyfriend. New job. New apartment. She was giving podcast interviews about escaping a manipulative relationship and rebuilding after trauma. Trauma? Alina, on a podcast, I felt trapped. Evan seemed sweet, but he had this possessive energy. Like he needed me more than he loved me. I had to fake confidence every day just to survive being in the same room as him. The comments poured in. Listener comment. You're so brave, Alina. Thank you for speaking your truth. Another comment. I've dated guys like that. They gaslight you and then play the victim. EW. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch a hole in every wall I walked past. But instead, I just collapsed into silence. Into depression. I stopped eating. Stopped going outside. I'd sleep 14 hours, wake up exhausted, and spend the day staring at the ceiling. I even started doubting myself. Like, what if she was right? What if I was too much? Too intense? Too clingy? I replayed every moment, every conversation, wondering where I went wrong. But deep down, I knew the truth. She didn't love me. She used me. I was never her partner. I was her cover story, her launch pad. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. My phone buzzed at 3 a.m. one night. Unknown number. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. It's about Alina. I sat up, heart pounding. I stared at the message for a good 10 minutes before replying. Me? Who are you? Unknown number. Her ex before you. We'll call him Ryan. Ryan and I met the next day at a diner 2 towns over. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. Sunken eyes, fidgety hands, barely touched his coffee. Ryan, she did it to me too. Everything. Word for word. The love bombing, the gaslighting, the cheating, the restraining order. She said I was dangerous. Got me kicked out of my program. Nearly went to jail. Me? She told me you were an addict. Ryan, I've never even smoked a cigarette. We spent hours swapping war stories. And I realized, Alina wasn't just cruel. She was calculated. She had a script. A formula. Step 1, seduce. Make you feel like the center of the universe. Step 2, break you slowly. Isolate you. Confuse you. Make you doubt your own mind. Step 3, replace you publicly. Humiliate you. Flip the narrative. Step 4, become the victim. Ryan had proof too. Screenshots, voice recordings, even old journal entries she'd accidentally left behind. He'd been collecting them, trying to build a case. Ryan, she's done this to at least 4 guys that I know of. One of them tried to kill himself. Another disappeared completely. I felt sick. For a moment, I thought about revenge. About burning her world down the way she burned mine. But I knew it wouldn't fix anything. It wouldn't give me my dignity back. It wouldn't erase the laughter, the viral video, the way my friends looked at me like I was broken. But maybe I could stop her from doing it again. Ryan and I started documenting everything. Our messages, our experiences, our timelines. We found two more guys, Tom and Malik, both with eerily similar stories. We created a private server and uploaded everything. Photos, texts, recordings, witnesses. We called it Project Ghost, because that's what she turned us into, ghosts of the people we used to be. We debated going public, but we knew how it would go. She was charismatic, beautiful, manipulative. We were angry exes with no proof, no platform, no credibility. The internet would eat us alive. So we waited. And then, an opportunity came. Her new boyfriend, the same one from the party, messaged me out of nowhere. New guy, let's call him Josh. Hey, I know you hate me, but can we talk? I didn't respond at first, but he messaged again. Josh, she's doing it to me too. I agreed to meet. We sat in his car in a grocery store parking lot. He looked wrecked, worse than I ever did. Face pale, hands trembling, eyes bloodshot. Josh, she told me you were abusive, but she's been seeing another guy for months. I found her texts. She said I was boring, that I'm just a placeholder until something better shows up. He started crying. I didn't know what to say. What could I say? He wasn't the enemy anymore. He was just the next victim. We brought him into the server, gave him access to everything. He uploaded his own folder, photos, messages, audio clips. One message from her stood out. Alina, text, I think I can make this one break faster. He's already crying over nothing. Pathetic. That night, we decided to go nuclear. We built a website, laid out the stories, redacted names, presented the evidence, made it factual, cold, documented. We called it the Alina File. It went live at 2 a.m. We posted it on Reddit, Twitter, anonymous forums. And then, we waited. By noon, it had 50,000 views. By nightfall, it hit 2 million. By the next morning, Alina had deleted all her socials. By the next week, she lost her job. The guy she was cheating with dropped her. Her feminist podcast removed her episodes. Her friends unfollowed her. Sponsors pulled out. Her college opened an investigation. But I didn't feel victorious. I just felt empty. Because even after all of that, the truth was simple. I still missed the girl I thought she was. The girl who never existed. Part 3. The fallout spread like wildfire. By the end of that week, Alina's name was trending, not in the way she was used to. This wasn't admiration. It was exposure. And it was brutal. People tore her apart online. Some celebrated. Others couldn't believe it. The same girl who used to post mental health advice and toxic relationship red flags was now the face of manipulation. Some people tried to defend her. Twitter user, y'all believe anything on the internet. This is just a bunch of salty exes mad they got dumped. But then more men came forward. 5, then 8, then 13. All of them had stories, eerily similar stories. Same patterns, same tactics. Love bombing, triangulation, public humiliation, false accusations. One guy, Daniel, had audio of her threatening to frame him for assault if he didn't let her use his car for a weekend trip. Alina, audio clip, if you don't give me the damn keys, I swear I'll tell everyone you grabbed me. Don't think I won't. You're nobody. I can ruin you in 10 seconds. Daniel never reported it. He was too scared. So were a lot of them. And I realized what happened to me wasn't personal. It wasn't because I was weak or naive or stupid. It was because I was convenient. Because I had something she needed, a place to stay, a shoulder to lean on, a reputation she could exploit. She didn't destroy me because she hated me. She destroyed me because that's what she does. She builds a mask, sells it to you like a dream, and the moment you believe in it, she rips it off and dares you to scream. And I screamed. I did. But nobody heard me. Not until I made sure they couldn't ignore me anymore. The website stayed up. It got media attention. A few small outlets picked up the story. Anonymous survivors expose serial manipulator. The headline felt cold, detached, sanitized. It didn't capture the chaos, the nausea, the self-loathing, the absolute psychological war we had all lived through. But still, it was something. Her family even made a statement. Alina's mother, public Facebook post, "We are heartbroken by recent revelations about our daughter. We are cooperating with all investigations. Please respect our privacy." She went dark after that. I didn't see or hear anything about her for weeks. Until I got another text. Unknown number. Congratulations. You won. Happy now. I stared at it for a while. It didn't say her name, but I knew it was her. I didn't respond. 2 minutes later, another message. Alina, Do you feel better? Are you sleeping now? Eating? Getting pats on the back from strangers? Is it healing your little broken ego? Still, I said nothing. She kept going. Alina, you don't even know what you've done. You think you're the good guy? You're not. You're a coward. You couldn't handle me leaving, so you burned everything down. You'll always be pathetic. And for the first time ever, I didn't feel the urge to reply, because I finally understood. This was her game. She needed attention, good or bad, applause or pity. She didn't care which, as long as all eyes were on her. And I had taken that away. So she was lashing out, drowning in silence. She messaged again a day later. Then again, voice messages, emails, even fake Instagram accounts tagging me in posts. I blocked them all. But deep down, I knew she wasn't done. People like her don't disappear. They just hibernate, change tactics, morph into a new identity. So I did what I had to do. I started therapy. Real therapy. Not the kind you go to once a month to say you're working on yourself. I committed. Weekly sessions. Sometimes twice a week. I told my therapist everything. Every moment. Every breakdown. Every time I questioned my own reality. Every time I almost ended everything just to make the pain stop. And slowly, I started to feel real again. We talked about trauma bonding. About narcissistic abuse. About why I still craved her even after everything. Therapist, you don't miss her. You miss the version of yourself that existed when you thought she loved you. That's what abusers steal. Not just your trust, but your identity. That hit me like a train. She didn't just lie to me. She erased me. Replaced me with a shell that lived in fear, shame, and confusion. But piece by piece, I was taking myself back. I went back to school under a different name. A new city. A fresh start. I got a part-time job tutoring kids. It was the first time I felt useful in years. I started writing again. Not just about her. About everything. My fears, my dreams, the things I forgot I cared about. I made real friends. People who didn't know my past, who didn't flinch when they saw me. People who just liked me. Evan, not the meme, not the victim, not the broken man with the viral video. But I never stopped being vigilant. I knew she'd surface again. Somewhere. Some form. And she did. A year later. Different name. Different look. But same voice. Same tactics. She started a YouTube channel. Talking about healing, letting go, and surviving toxic masculinity. One of her new victims reached out to me. New guy, hey, I think something's wrong. I think she's not who she says she is. I sent him the link. Me. Read everything. Then call me. That's when I realized this would never really be over. Not for me. Not for her. Because people like Alina don't stop. And neither will I. I'm not telling this story for pity. I'm telling it because someone out there is falling for the same mask I did. Someone is being told they're crazy. That their instincts are wrong. That love is supposed to feel like chaos. It's not. Love doesn't erase you. Love doesn't gaslight you. Love doesn't turn you into a joke. And if it does, it's not love. It's war. Part 4. I didn't expect the nightmares to continue for as long as they did. Even a year later, after the therapy, after the rebuilding, after the public reckoning, I'd still wake up drenched in sweat, heart racing, sometimes screaming. In the dreams, I was always back in that tiny apartment, watching Alina pack her things in silence while the walls bled with laughter, her laughter echoing endlessly, like the sound of betrayal being tattooed into my skull. My therapist said it was normal, that the trauma had formed deep neural grooves, that healing doesn't happen in straight lines. I wanted to believe her, but some days, I still felt like I was drowning in a pool that looked like my own blood. Then one day, something happened that made everything worse. I received a letter. A real letter. Not a text, not an email. An actual envelope in the mailbox, no return address. Just my name written in looping, elegant cursive. Inside was a photo. A single photo. Of Alina, holding a baby. I stared at it for what felt like an eternity. The back of the photo had 3 words written in black ink. He looks like you. I dropped it. I couldn't breathe. What the hell was this? I didn't know if it was real or some sick mind game. She hadn't contacted me in months. The last time she messaged me was a string of voicemails about how I ruined her life and how she hoped I died alone choking on regret. Now this? A baby? Mine? No way. No way. My hands shook as I picked the photo up again. The kid, maybe 6 months old, had bright eyes, dark hair. And yeah, there was something there. A resemblance. Maybe. Or maybe that's just what she wanted me to see. I had to know. I messaged Ryan. Me? Did she ever say anything to you about getting pregnant? Ryan, dude, what? I sent him the photo. He didn't reply for 15 minutes. Then, Ryan, no F asterisk 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 ing way. She pulled the same thing on me. Sent me a sonogram picture. Told me I needed to pay support or she'd go to the cops. Me. Was it real? Ryan, no. She faked the sonogram. I traced the image. It was from Google. I felt sick. So this was another trick? Another manipulation? Another wound to rip open? I called my therapist that night. I told her everything. The letter, the photo, the baby, the message on the back. Therapist, she's testing you. Trying to see if you'll break no contact. This is a trap, Evan. But what if it wasn't? What if, just once, she wasn't lying? I hated that I even entertained the possibility. But I needed answers. Closure. Proof. I had a friend who worked in data security. I sent him the envelope and photo, hoping for a miracle. Some fingerprint, some forensic detail, anything. He came back with something I never expected. Friend, you're not gonna believe this, but the paper the photo's printed on? It's from a specific local pharmacy in her city. There's a timestamp on the back corner. Subtle, but there. We traced it. Surveillance footage. And there she was. Alina. Alone. No baby. No stroller. Just buying a single glossy print. The photo she sent me. And here's the kicker. The baby. Stock image. Taken from a public parenting website. I found the original. Same pose. Same smile. Same baby. Different reality. I almost laughed. Almost. But instead, I cried. Because this woman who once held me like I was the last warm thing in the world, was still finding ways to violate me. To haunt me. To sink her claws into my sanity from hundreds of miles away. And for what? To win? To remind me I'd never truly be free? Because that's what she was doing. She wasn't just tormenting me out of spite. She was reminding me that no matter how much time passed, she could still shatter me with a single photograph. But this time, I didn't break. I didn't respond. Didn't call. Didn't scream. I just documented it. Added it to the file. And for the first time, I felt something close to control. But that peace didn't last long. 2 months later, she resurfaced again. This time, publicly. A YouTube video titled, My Side of the Story, The Truth Behind the Evan Lies. I wasn't even surprised. I knew it would come. Knew she couldn't resist. The video was 27 minutes of unfiltered gaslighting. Alina, on video, I stayed silent for so long because I didn't want to cause drama. But the lies have gone too far. I never abused anyone. I was the one being stalked. I was the one being harassed. Evan and his little army of exes have been trying to destroy me for years. She cried on camera, talked about trauma, talked about male fragility and how some men can't handle being left. The comments were split. Some believed her. Of course they did. She looked flawless. Soft lighting, perfect makeup, carefully scripted emotional arcs. She knew exactly what she was doing. But others didn't buy it. They linked the site. They dropped the receipts. And that's when things escalated. She started losing again. Sponsorships? Gone. Speaking gigs? Canceled. The house she was living in? Turned out it was under her new boyfriend's name. He kicked her out after seeing the site. But instead of fading quietly, she got louder. Filed a defamation suit. Against me. Against Ryan. Against the others. Said we created a smear campaign and orchestrated a digital harassment ring. I remember reading the legal documents with shaking hands. Me, to my lawyer, can she win this? Lawyer, no. But she can make it hell. And she did. Court dates. Depositions. Public humiliation. She tried to make us look like bitter men who couldn't let go. And honestly, I was bitter. I was angry. But not because she left, because she lied. Because she destroyed. Because she enjoyed destroying. The case lasted 8 months. 8 months of anxiety, stress, and legal fees. But we won. The judge dismissed it as frivolous. Even commented on her pattern of manipulative behavior in the official summary. That was the day I finally let myself breathe again. Not because she was gone, but because I had faced her in open court and survived. Part 5. I thought winning in court would feel like a final chapter. Like some movie ending where the villain walks away in handcuffs and I get to stare into the sunset knowing the storm is over. But real life doesn't work like that. There's no music, no credits, no peace. Just the quiet hum of exhaustion and the realization that you survived something you'll probably never fully escape. Because after the lawsuit ended, after her lies were exposed again, after the world saw her for what she was, I still didn't feel safe. There's a difference between being free and feeling free. I moved again. Third city in 2 years. Changed my number. Deleted old social accounts. Got a dog, a German Shepherd rescue named Knox. Something about him made me feel grounded. Like he'd guard the parts of me I hadn't figured out how to protect yet. But even then, even with new walls, a new name, and a goddamn dog sleeping by the door, she still found a way back in. This time through someone else. It was a Thursday night when I got a DM on a new account, barely a week old, from a girl named Leah. Leah, hey, weird question. Did you used to date Alina? I froze. I didn't reply right away. I checked her profile, barely anything posted. But she had one photo, a selfie, and she was wearing Alina's necklace, the one I gave her. The black tourmaline pendant I bought in Prague. Said it would protect her from bad energy. The irony still haunts me. I replied, me? Yeah. Why? Leah, she talks about you. A lot. Says you're obsessed with her. That you're dangerous. Me? I haven't spoken to her in over a year. Leah, yeah, that's what I thought. She's not who she pretends to be. Something's wrong. I found your site. I wasn't supposed to. She flipped when she saw me on your page. I asked her to call me. She did. And what she told me chilled me to the core. She had met Alina through a mutual friend at a meditation retreat. Alina had introduced herself as Leah, said she was a trauma survivor, a writer, and a life coach. Claimed her ex-boyfriend had stalked and abused her and that she had to start over after escaping him. She showed Leah the fake evidence, photoshopped messages, edited audio clips, even a restraining order she printed off and backdated. She had recreated an entire history in which I was the monster and she was the martyr. And Leah believed it for a while. Until she didn't. Because she started noticing things. Alina, or Leah, was possessive. Controlling. She'd panic if Leah didn't reply within minutes. Accused her of cheating. Threatened self-harm when Leah asked for space. She went through Leah's phone. Blocked her friends. Told her they were toxic. And then she hit her. Only once. But once was enough. That was when Leah started looking. And that's when she found the truth. Leah, on the phone. I feel so stupid. I just kept thinking, there's no way someone could lie that well. No one would fake being a victim. But she did. And she's been doing it for years, hasn't she? Me? Yeah. You're not stupid. You're just human. We talked for hours. She cried. I cried. We compared stories. The scariest part? They were nearly identical. Same phrases. Same gaslighting. Same moments of affection timed perfectly with cruelty. Like a pattern burned into her DNA. Before we hung up, Leah said something that stuck with me. Leah, she told me I reminded her of you. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared. Because I was angry. Because even after everything, the lawsuit, the exposure, the humiliation, she still hadn't stopped. She had just changed masks. New name. New girl. Same script. And I knew, eventually, there would be more. So I updated the site. Added a timeline. Linked Leah's story, with her permission. We kept it anonymous, no photos, no last names. But the pattern was becoming undeniable. Like a string of bloody footprints left in digital snow. And the comments flooded in again. New people. More victims. More pieces of the puzzle. It wasn't just me and Ryan anymore. It wasn't even a dozen of us. It was 43. 43 people who had been used, discarded, framed, or emotionally annihilated by the same woman under different aliases. The site became a movement. People started calling it the mirror file. Because that's what she did. She mirrored your soul, reflected your hopes, then cracked the glass and watched you bleed. A journalist contacted me about writing a full expose. At first, I hesitated. I didn't want the attention. But then I thought about Leah, about Daniel, about the teenager who emailed me and said Alina, now calling herself Lena, had been their mentor before driving them to the brink of suicide. I agreed. The article dropped a month later. It went viral. Headline: Queen of Lies, the woman who weaponized victimhood. There were screenshots, timelines, expert interviews, psychologists breaking down her methods. They called her a high-functioning sociopath. I don't know if that label is fair. I'm not a doctor, but I know what she did. And now, so did the world. She tried to respond again. A teary video. A TikTok campaign. Said she was being targeted by incels and dangerous right-wing trolls. But this time, no one listened. Even her die-hard fans fell silent. Even her family, the ones who once defended her, deleted their accounts. And then, silence. No new posts. No new aliases. Nothing. It's been a year since then. And I still check the mirror file once a week. Still get messages. Still answer emails. Because I know she's still out there. Maybe lying low. Maybe waiting. Maybe learning how to be more careful next time. But if she ever resurfaces, I'll be ready. Because I know her tricks now. And I've made it my mission to shine a light on every corner she tries to hide in. I lost 2 years of my life to her. My confidence. My reputation. My sense of reality. But I got something back, too. I got my voice. And I won't ever let her, or anyone like her, take it from me again. Part 6. It's strange, looking back, how pain can mutate, how it evolves over time. At first, my pain was sharp like glass in the lungs. Immediate. Violent. It came in waves of rage and sobbing, shaking hands, sleepless nights, screaming into pillows because I didn't know how else to get it out of my system. But then it changed, became duller, heavier, a quiet grief, like I was mourning someone who hadn't died, but who had killed something inside me all the same. And just when I thought I had settled into acceptance, it changed again, because now my pain had purpose. Every new victim who contacted me, every person who said, "I thought I was crazy until I found your story." That was the fuel. That was the war. And I had become a soldier in something far bigger than heartbreak. The mirror file became more than a site. It became a movement. We started building a database, a real one, with verified reports, evidence, timelines. Collaborators joined. Therapists, forensic analysts, survivors, people whose lives had been shattered by the same woman or people like her. And I became something I never wanted to be. A symbol, a voice for the voiceless. I hated it at first. I didn't want the attention. But then I saw what it meant to people. I got a message from a woman in Canada, Maria, who told me Alina had contacted her under the alias Eva, claimed she was a healer, offered to guide her through a spiritual awakening. Within 3 weeks, Maria was being financially blackmailed. Alina had threatened to release intimate photos unless she paid $5,000. Maria found the site. She escaped. She said my story saved her life. I cried when I read that. I cried hard. Because for the first time, my suffering had value. But not everyone was supportive. There were threats. Anonymous ones, mostly. Emails from burner accounts. Email, "You're ruining an innocent woman's life." Email, "What if someone kills her because of your lies?" Email, "Take the site down. Or else." But I didn't stop. Because I knew who they were. Her. Or people she manipulated. Or people just like her, parasites who thrived on doubt and silence. I was done being silent. Still, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I started carrying mace. Changed locks. Installed cameras. Took self-defense classes. Paranoia became my shadow, always just behind me, whispering "what if" every time I turned a corner. And then, the worst happened. She found my mother. I don't know how. Maybe through social media. Maybe through one of my leaked court documents. But she showed up at my mother's job. In person. Introduced herself as an old friend. Said she just wanted to talk. My mom, bless her, called me immediately. "Mom, on phone, there's a woman here. Says her name is..." Well, she used 3 different ones. But she said she knew you. "Evan, something's off." I froze. Me. What does she look like? She described her. It was her. Alina. In the flesh. Trying to charm her way into my family. I told my mom to leave immediately and call security. She did. Alina left before they arrived. But that was it for me. The final straw. I filed for a restraining order. Again. And this time, I had everything. Video evidence. The old court transcripts. Witnesses. The judge granted it within a week. She was served at her new apartment, which, by the way, was being paid for by another guy she was dating under the name Rose. I thought that might stop her. But I was wrong. Because 3 days later, I woke up to chaos. Hundreds of missed notifications. Texts. Calls. Emails. Someone had hacked the mirror file. Not just defaced it. Deleted it. Wiped it clean. Years of evidence gone in seconds. I was shaking. Knox was barking at the window like something evil had passed by. It took me a full hour to calm down enough to breathe. I called the team. Our backups were intact. Thank God. We had off-site encrypted copies, but the attack was precise. Someone had paid real money, used ransomware-level tech, just to destroy a site that told the truth. I knew who it was. Couldn't prove it, but I knew. The cowardice reeked of her. I made a decision then. We rebuilt, but this time bigger, stronger. We added layers of protection. Legal, digital, human. We created a coalition, not just a site. An entire network of survivors around the world. And we renamed the movement, from the Mirror File to the Phoenix Network, because we didn't just reflect the abuse anymore. We rose from it. Alina tried to burn us down, and in doing so, she gave us wings. More media outlets picked it up, documentaries, podcasts, survivor panels. And still, I stayed mostly quiet, didn't show my face, didn't give interviews, because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about the dozens, then hundreds, then thousands of people who realized they weren't alone. The power of truth in a world where lies spread faster than wildfire. But even as the movement grew, something inside me was still broken. I still couldn't trust anyone, couldn't date, couldn't look someone in the eye and believe they weren't wearing a mask. Until her. Her name was Maya, and she wasn't like anyone I'd ever met. Part 7. Maya didn't know anything about my past when we met. It was a fluke, a coffee shop thing. Classic cliche. I was working on my laptop, trying to rebuild one of the resource pages from the backup server, and my charger port just died. Battery at 4%. I looked up, desperate, and there she was at the next table, typing away with the same model of laptop. Me, hey, sorry to interrupt, but is there any chance I could borrow your charger for like 10 minutes? I'll trade you a croissant. She smiled. Bright. Effortless. Maya, only if it's almond. It was. She slid the charger over like we'd known each other for years. I didn't think much of it. Didn't even ask for her number. Too tired. Too guarded. But she came back the next day. Same seat. Same smile. And the day after that. And eventually, we started talking. About music. Books. Movies. She loved horror films but couldn't handle spiders. She had a dog, too, a border collie named Lilo. She worked in trauma counseling, mostly with kids, and said her job was exhausting but worth it. I didn't tell her about Alina. Not at first. I didn't want to ruin the one thing in my life that didn't feel soaked in gasoline. But Maya wasn't stupid. She saw the shadows under my eyes. The way I flinched when my phone buzzed. The edge in my voice when I talked about old relationships. After a month, I told her everything. All of it. The lies. The manipulation. The fake evidence. The smear campaigns. The courtrooms. The hackers. The threats. The file. The movement. She didn't blink. She listened. Held my hand. And when I finished, I waited for her to say something. Anything. To pull back. To say, that's too much. But she didn't. Maya, she hurt you in ways you're still trying to name. But she didn't destroy you. That's the part one care about. God. I nearly broke right there in that coffee shop. Because for the first time in years, someone didn't treat me like damaged goods or a cautionary tale. She treated me like a person. A survivor. We started dating slowly. Cautiously. There were bad days. Triggers. Nights when she'd reach for me and I'd flinch because my brain was still wired to expect betrayal. But she never rushed me. Never guilted me. She just stayed. And that steadiness, that patience, it began to rewire something deep inside me. I started to believe again. In people. In love. In the idea that maybe I wasn't just a collection of broken bones and burned bridges. We moved in together after a year. Knox and Lilo became best friends. We built a life. And for the first time since Alina, I felt like I was breathing with my whole chest again. But of course, peace never lasts. Not when someone like her is still out there. I woke up one morning to Maya holding her phone with a look on her face I'll never forget. She didn't speak. Just handed it to me. It was a video. Posted on a new TikTok account. Thousands of views already. The title? My Truth About the Phoenix Network, Trigger Warning. And there she was. Alina. Now calling herself Riley. Looking fragile. Barely made up. Voice soft. Wearing a hoodie like she was in hiding. Alina, in video, this is really hard for me, but I have to speak my truth. For years, I've been bullied, stalked, and harassed by a man I once loved. He has twisted the story. Created this entire smear campaign. I stayed silent because I didn't want to escalate things. But now, he's influencing others. He's putting more people in danger. I have proof. She showed something blurred screenshots, audio clips, but they were edited, spliced, manipulated. Maya looked at me. Maya, tell me this is bullshit. Me, it is. Every second of it. I knew this move. It was her greatest trick, the sympathy offensive. If she couldn't destroy me through truth, she'd bury me in lies. Again, we flagged the video. So did others. It was taken down within a few days. But the damage? It was already spreading. She started doing interviews again, podcast appearances under the radar, framing herself as the target of a misogynistic hate campaign. And some people believed her. New victims messaged me confused, scared. DM, she's saying she's being stalked. I thought she was dangerous, but now I don't know. DM, is she actually the victim? I'm so lost. DM, I want to believe you, but she sounds so convincing. I knew this would happen. It always did. Abusers don't disappear. They mutate, like a virus. And in a culture that glamorizes redemption and turns trauma into performance, she was winning again, if only a little. But that little, that's how it starts. Maya helped me come up with a response. Not a rant, not an expose, just a truth bomb. I sat in front of a camera, and I told my story again, from start to finish. Raw, no edits, no theatrics. I showed the evidence. I played the uncut audio. I shared verified testimonials from dozens of people. I said her name, her real name, and I didn't flinch. The video went viral. Again, but this time, it wasn't just about exposing her. It was about reclaiming the narrative. For every survivor who had ever been gaslit, blamed, or erased. For every person who had been told, you're too sensitive, or you're imagining it. We flooded the comments. We told our truths. We fought back. And finally, after months of trying to resurrect herself, she vanished. Not just offline, from everywhere. We checked. No posts, no sightings, no aliases. Gone. I don't know where she went. Some say she moved to Europe. Others think she's changed her name again and is waiting to start over somewhere far away. I don't care, because I'm not afraid of her anymore. I'm ready if she returns. But more importantly, I'm not alone. Part 8. It's been 3 years since Alina disappeared. 3 years of silence, of rebuilding, of healing in ways I never thought possible. But you never really move on from something like that. You grow around it, like a tree around barbed wire. It's still inside you, still sharp, still there, but you live, and living becomes your loudest revenge. Maya and I got married last fall. Small ceremony, just us, our dogs, and a few friends we trust like family. No cameras, no social media, just peace. And for the first time, I believed the vows. I didn't feel like I was lying when I said, for better or worse, because I had seen the worst. And somehow, I was still standing. The Phoenix Network has grown into something I never imagined. We've helped over 40,000 people in 3 years, built partnerships with domestic violence orgs, created a vetting process for reports, trained volunteers, developed courses on digital manipulation and psychological abuse. We even launched a scholarship for survivors. I still don't show my face, still don't want to be the face of anything, but I speak when it matters. And one of those times came last month. A woman named Rachel, 24 years old, took her own life after months of psychological torment from a partner who mirrored Alina's tactics almost exactly. Her family found her journal. Inside were printouts from our site. She had highlighted paragraphs, circled names, drawn arrows between incidents like she was trying to solve a puzzle with her own trauma as the key. It destroyed me. It reminded me that this work doesn't end. It reminded me of what's at stake. Because predators don't always punch. Sometimes they just rewrite your reality, erase your confidence, convince you that you're the problem, until the only escape you see is silence. And silence kills. So I went to her funeral, quietly, anonymously, stood in the back, and cried, not just for her, but for all the people like her who never made it out. That night, I stayed up with Maya. Me. Do you think it'll ever stop? People like her. Maya, no. But people like you are why they don't win. God, I love that woman. We made love that night with a desperation I hadn't felt in a long time. A need to feel alive. To remind ourselves that love, when it's real, doesn't leave bruises. Doesn't gaslight. Doesn't record you without consent. Or lie to your friends. Or fake pregnancy tests. Or say, I never said that, when you have the audio. It just stays. Maya stays. She sees the nightmares. The way I flinch when a block number calls. The panic attacks that still come sometimes when I walk past a woman with Alina's haircut, and she stays. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I never found the voice to fight back. If I'd let her win. Let her story become the only story. I wouldn't be here. I know that now. I wouldn't be breathing. Wouldn't be sleeping next to someone who loves me without conditions. Wouldn't be alive in any real way. And maybe that's the part that hurts the most. That she almost stole me. Not just my reputation or my sanity, but me. The version of me that still loves. Still laughs. Still fights. She almost won. Almost. But here I am, telling you all this. To make sure you know what survival looks like. It's messy. It's not linear. It doesn't end in a courtroom or a takedown post. It ends with a quiet morning, coffee in your favorite mug, a dog curled against your feet, and a woman humming in the kitchen, off-key, just because she can. But even then, sometimes the darkness knocks. And when it does, I answer it with light. Because I made it out. And I'm not going back. One day, I might tell our daughter about all this. Yeah, daughter. Maya's pregnant. Found out 2 weeks ago. And I cried harder than I ever have. Not from fear. Not from grief. From joy. Real joy. Because I get to give her the life I never had. I get to show her what love looks like. What strength is. What to run from. And what to run toward. And if I ever see Alina again, I won't scream. Won't fight. Won't run. I'll just look her in the eyes and say, Me, thank you. You taught me exactly who I'll never be. Part 9. I never thought healing would feel like this. It's not like in the movies, no dramatic sunrise, no slow-mo montage with music swelling in the background. It's quieter, subtler. It sneaks up on you in the tiniest moments. The kind of moments I used to think meant nothing. Like holding Maya's hand on a rainy walk. Or watching Knox chase leaves in the park without a leash, trusting that he'll always come back. Or laughing at a stupid sitcom joke and realizing it's the first time I've laughed without flinching in weeks. That's what healing actually looks like. But there's still a part of me that stays on edge. Like there's a wolf pacing at the edge of the forest, just out of view, but always watching. Because the world we live in doesn't punish people like Alina. It rewards them. They're charming, beautiful, intelligent, persuasive. They know how to play the victim. They know how to twist reality until you forget what's true. And worst of all, they make you think it's your fault. Every single time. That's why I keep the files. The evidence. The audio backups. The legal transcripts. Not because I live in fear, but because I won't be caught off guard again. And I won't let someone else suffer because I was too tired to keep fighting. That's the thing about surviving someone like her. You never stop looking over your shoulder, but you learn to stand tall while doing it. Last month, a law passed in our state. We've been lobbying for it for nearly 2 years. The Digital Coercion and Consent Act. It makes it a felony to fabricate digital evidence in order to manipulate or defame someone. Finally, a legal framework for the kind of abuse people like Alina specialize in. When the bill passed, they invited me to speak. I stood behind the podium in the state capitol building, wearing a suit I hadn't touched since my first court hearing, and looked out at a sea of reporters, survivors, and politicians. And I told my story. Me, this isn't just about one woman. It's about a system that allows people like her to thrive. It's about the thousands of survivors who go unheard because their abuser didn't leave bruises, they left shame, confusion, fear. It's about redefining what abuse looks like in a digital world. And most of all, it's about reclaiming power. The room went quiet when I finished. Then standing ovation. I didn't care about the clapping. I cared about the girl in the third row, maybe 19, tears on her face, mouth slightly open, like she'd just heard someone put words to a trauma she hadn't been able to explain for years. That's who I do this for. Not for revenge. Not even for justice. For recognition. For the people gaslit into thinking they were crazy. For the people who apologize to their abuser. For the ones who still whisper, maybe it was my fault. It wasn't. It never was. A few weeks after the law passed, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside, a USB drive. And a note. Note. You think you won. You have no idea how deep this goes. Keep pushing, and I'll make you regret everything. My hand shook. For a moment, it felt like the past clawed its way back through the door. But I didn't panic. Didn't cry. Didn't smash the drive or burn the letter. I called the police. Gave them the package. They traced it to a shipping center in Nevada. Surveillance footage confirmed it wasn't her who sent it. It was a man. Early 30s. nervous, disguised. Another pawn, another puppet, another warning. Maya was scared. Maya, she's never going to stop, is she? Me, she might. Or she might keep trying until she fades. Either way, I'm not playing her game anymore. The truth is, Alina doesn't matter now. She can twist, threaten, hide, but we're too many, too loud, too connected, and we know what she is. You can't manipulate everyone forever. Eventually, the masks crack, and when they do, there's nowhere left to hide. We've been working on a documentary, not just about Alina, though she's a major case study, but about this entire type of predator. The ones who wear empathy like armor and use your wounds as maps. It's called Pretty Lies. Netflix is interested. We've filmed interviews with survivors from 6 different countries. Therapists, journalists, cybersecurity experts. We're not just telling stories. We're educating people. Because the only thing more dangerous than a manipulator is a world that doesn't know how to spot one. And when the cameras cut, when the interviews end, I go home. To Maya. To peace. To something real. Sometimes we sit on the porch in silence, watching the dogs sleep, and I think about who I used to be, who she tried to destroy, and who I became because of it. Part 10. I still remember the night it finally all caught up with me. Not in some courtroom. Not through a viral takedown. Just at home. Alone. It was 2:37 a.m. I couldn't sleep. Maya was out of town visiting her sister. Knox was curled at the foot of the bed, and I sat there, staring at the ceiling, heart racing for no reason I could name. It hit me like a ghost. Everything. The first time I met Alina. The way she smiled when she lied. The warmth in her touch right before she ripped me to pieces. The slow erosion of who I was, day by day, memory by memory. And I lost it. I mean, truly broke down. Not the loud kind of crying. Not the movie kind. The quiet, collapsing kind. I didn't know I was still carrying this kind. I curled into myself and shook. No words. No prayers. Just a deep ache in the bones. And for a second, just one, I understood the people who didn't make it through. I understood the darkness. Because once someone breaks you in the way she broke me, there's no map back to the surface. No GPS out of that hell. You rebuild blind. Guessing. Bleeding. Hoping you're not stepping in circles. But then, I felt Knox move. He climbed up beside me, put his head on my chest. And that weight, that warmth, it was like someone saying, I see you. I'm here. That's all it took. One heartbeat outside of mine to remind me I was still here. Still breathing. Still worth saving. I fell asleep that night with his head on my chest and woke up at dawn with sunlight warming my face. And I realized something. She didn't win. Not even close. She might have wounded me in ways that still itch when it rains. She might have stolen years. Friends. Peace. Laughter. But she didn't steal me. And in the end, that's what predators fear the most. Survivors who don't stay silent. Survivors who rebuild. Survivors who tell their story not for pity, but for war. So here it is. I was broken, manipulated, gaslit, defamed, humiliated, but I stood back up. And now? Now I build. Now I protect. Now I teach others how to see the red flags before they bleed. And I don't do it for vengeance. I do it for the girl who DM'd me last night saying, DM, I thought I was crazy until I read your story. Thank you. You probably saved my life. That's why I still speak. That's why I kept going when the rest of me wanted to shut it all off. Because silence is their greatest weapon, and truth is our sharpest sword. So here's my final message to her, and to anyone like her still hiding behind soft eyes and crocodile tears. You lost. You lost the moment I chose healing over hiding. You lost when I stopped needing revenge and started creating purpose. You lost when you made me your enemy because I don't lose. Not anymore. And to anyone reading this who's in it right now, drowning in the confusion, wondering if it's really abuse just because they never hit you. It is. And you are not alone. There's a way out. There's a world waiting for you. And I'll be right here on the other side, holding the light. Waiting. Whenever you're ready to come home.